Hello and welcome, Mike Seaman and Doug Emslie. How are you both on this day of days?
Good, mate.
Very hot.
Very hot. Yeah, Doug, you said you've just come back from London on the sweltering tube. So we're speaking probably, 7 or 8 hours after the announcement that went out. And for those that aren't aware, we're going to talk about Doug's new investment vehicle. I can't even pronounce it, so I'm going to let you do that in a minute. And also its first acquisition of Mike's Raccoon Media Group. So first to you, Doug. Obviously, I've had you on the program a few times. The time before last, obviously you had just sold Tarsus. And then the last time you and Mike were doing the West Highland Way walk challenge.
Yeah.
So some people might have thought you might have put your feet up and be on the beach and retiring, but none of that. So you didn't want to put your pipe and slippers on.
No, and I mean, bluntly, I had 34 hours of a sales pitch, and I obviously succumbed.
Oh, that's how it happened, was it? Right, okay. So, how do you pronounce the name of the business, Doug?
It's called Cuil Bay.
Cuil Bay,
as in cool.
So
Cuil Bay.
I looked up Cuil Bay before I came on here, actually. So I'm just going to do a bit of a history lesson. If I've got this right, it's the southwest part of the Ardshiel Peninsula, northwest of the village Duror, on the eastern shore of
Duror. Yeah,
that's the worst pronunciation of any.
Yeah. I think you successfully mullered that.
Is that a place close to your heart? Is that near where you live?
It is. It's literally 2 miles from my house.
Oh, okay.
And it's where I run a lot. It's a beautiful run down there.
Sure.
But also it's a special place in a positive way in terms of sort of the whole vibe and calmness, and it just feels like you're getting oxygen. So for me, it was a special place, and it was the natural thing to call the new vehicle.
What do you think the local population thinks having a private equity business? It's now going to say, when you go into city or towns, it says twinned with whatever. It's now going to say twinned with Doug Emslie's investment vehicle. Anyway, we digress.
Exactly.
Right, before we talk about Raccoon Media Group and the acquisition that you announced, it'd be good to talk more about the investment vehicle. The announcement, if people haven't read it, said that CBC aims to focus on healthy, active and sustainable markets and to help entrepreneurs accelerate the scaling of their businesses. So what does this mean in practice for the future investment strategy of business?
Well, in the sort of 4 or 5 months since the sale of Tarsus, I've been talking to a lot of people in the industry, talking to a lot of entrepreneurs in other industries, and just thinking about what is the opportunity, and for me, I want to work with entrepreneurs. That's what Tarsus did. We were very good at partnering and building businesses. And I think that there is a missed opportunity in that if you're an entrepreneur in the events sector, you've got 2 choices. You either do it yourself or you sell it. But if you look at other sectors, particularly technology, where there is an infrastructure to support entrepreneurs in terms of financing and help them build big businesses, and really that's what the opportunity I see is to work with entrepreneurs and help them scale their businesses. And Raccoon's the first one.
Sure. And is it just a follow-up question? Is it just yourself or other people involved? People might just be interested to know the sort of...
Yeah. So basically, Cuil Bay is an investment vehicle.
Sure.
So we're there, one, to help the existing investment, which is Raccoon, build their business, but also to look at other opportunities and work with other entrepreneurs in other sectors. And so it's split between what I would call the investment side and the operational side. So on the investment side, I'm working with a couple of former colleagues who are on the advisory board.
Sure.
So Dan O'Brien, who was the finance director and CEO at Tarsus, and Neville Book, who I've worked with for 30 years. And then bringing in Mike, and Mike's on the advisory board, but also he's heading up the operational side in terms of running the business.
Cool, thank you, Mike. How are you?
I'm good, mate. It's been a busy few days.
I was going to say, we were discussing just off camera that you're probably WhatsApp, email, every other communication vehicle today has been pinging red hot. How's it been?
Do you know, it is lovely, and it's actually, because Doug and I have been friends a while, and we've got a lot of similar friends, and actually the majority of people have just been very kind and very supportive.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just really nice. It's really nice how many people reached out, and yeah, we've got a lot of opportunities now that we can explore now this deal's done. Yeah, I'm quite excited. It's going to be a great time for us.
So what I guess most people want to know, but probably you won't want to answer, is what the terms of the deal were.
I'm not going to answer that.
I thought I'd throw it out there. Doug, got a comment?
Well, from my perspective, far too much, and from Mike's, far too little.
That's a great.
But I would just say one other thing, and there's quite a nice symmetry, because when we sold Tarsus to Informa, it was a 5-week process from start to finish, and with the Raccoon deal, that was a 5-week process from start to finish. So it's been 5 weeks out and 5 weeks in.
There you go.
I reckon you got more money out of that one than you did out of mine.
They called him 5-week Emslie. So
I'll be honest though, just on that, on the timing, it's been a really interesting process for me to go through. And actually, what was really good is that Doug and I managed to maintain quite a level dialogue throughout, despite the number of different people that we had to get involved, the number of different agreements that had to come in. And I think that's a real test of how the partnership will work in the future, is how you behave when you're really put under quite heavy stress and deadlines and timings. And actually, I thought it was a really constructive process, and it was fun. It was really good. And we all had beers last night, and it was an exciting process to go through.
But I was going to ask Mike, obviously you set the business up yourself from your shed. I think I've interviewed you before from that shed during lockdown. And look, obviously it's a very positive day and people wishing you congratulations. But I guess it could feel a bit different, right? Because now you're part of something else, and you've given up part ownership, or the business has been acquired. How do you feel about that?
I think yes and no. I think in many ways it'll be the same, because we've got the same day-to-day people. Doug's been involved in the business for a while now anyway, and I've always taken his advice, and I've had a chairman before, and Ralph Collett, who was our previous chairman. Sure. And I think it's important to surround yourself with people who know more than you, and Doug definitely knows more than I do, and he's got more experience, and I think that challenge you and help you change the direction. For me, it's a natural evolution. Okay. I think at the start everything flows through you as an entrepreneur, and actually you become quite a limited business the longer that you do that. And it's really important that you build people around you who have additional skill sets and help you take it to the next level. And clearly for us to go where we want to go over the next few years, we needed to bring in someone like Doug, who has experience of scaling up. So I'm excited about it. I don't think it changes much. I think it actually gives me another sort of tool in the toolbox that I can use, in terms of someone I can go to daily and just say, actually, what do you think about this? Where can we go on this? And has real world experience that's really valuable.
Thank you. And a question to both of you, but Mike, you can answer this first. You said in the statement that went out, or the press release, you can expect to see us move into B2B as we expand our portfolio, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a departure from where you're at, where the business is focused at the moment. Can you tell us a bit?
Yeah, I think it's an ambition. I think currently we're very well known in the key markets that we operate. We have a vision that the three areas that we will cover will be healthy, active, and sustainable. And we will look to do B2C and B2B events and media properties. And I think that's quite important. Like we've got a lot of customers that we already work with, and we've got a lot of markets where we have weight and we have connections, and I think we can do some good. We're UK and US. That's predominantly the two markets where we see the initial opportunities taking place. So, yeah, I mean, it's those products aren't there yet, but we have quite a few things that we're working on, and we've been, let's be honest, working on in the background for quite some time now. So, watch this space, mate.
And Doug, from a perspective of not only building out Raccoon, but I guess the other targets and potential targets you're looking for, will they predominantly be within the B2B space? And also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you might have referenced that it might not just be events. Is that right? Are you looking outside of events industry into other sectors?
I mean, what we're looking at doing is looking for businesses that are established. So we're not looking at sort of new ventures, so something that's been established. Obviously, Raccoon's been going since 2016, and and something I said to Mike last night is, he started in the shed, and now, he's got 10 shows, he's got 33 people, and sometimes it's important just to step back and reflect on that. That's something to be proud of before you go on the next big charge. And we are going to build Raccoon. The big opportunity is in, as Mike says, the healthy, active, and sustainable. It's moving into the B2B where they've got the knowledge, but also geographically, in that we have got 3 shows now in the US, and the US is a big market, and there's lots of opportunities there. So I think that in looking at other opportunities, it's about finding businesses that are in sectors where there's transition going on, there's fundamental change, and that's driving primarily the show that services it. So that's what we're looking for. Will we do a consumer? Yes, we'll look at it. Will we do B2B? I mean, the ideal is to have multiple channels in passion-led communities. So I think we're going to restrict ourselves and say it's just B2B or just B2C.
Sure, thank you. And obviously, I appreciate you can't maybe name names, but do we expect to see you quite active over the next few months in terms of maybe announcements that you're making?
Well, in terms of the pipeline, I mean, Mike's got a series of things that he's looking to do, and we're going through that process. I mean, separately, I've got about a dozen things that have come and fallen in my lap, and we haven't actually been, if you like, out of the closet and that saying this is what we're going to do. These are just incoming rather than actually saying, listen, this is what we're doing, and actually start to generate things. But there's going to be more activity both in building Raccoon and in other investments, and we've spent a lot of time putting our strategy together. We're building that pipeline out, and actually the great thing is we will be defined by not necessarily the things that we do, but the things we don't do, and actually going through all the opportunities and just focusing on one or two, I think, is what we'll do. So we'll look at lots of things, and then maybe do a couple of our plan is a couple of acquisitions a year, a couple of launches. It's staying focused and not trying to basically do too much too quickly, or just buying anything that's available.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it has to fit our wider vision, and growth is going to come in 3 ways. It'll be organic, launch, and acquisition. And as Doug says, it'll be 1 or 2 in each of the launch and acquisition categories, but they will have to fit that healthy, active, sustainable. They'll most likely be UK, US. Obviously, we've got huge opportunity in the States, as Doug says, and that's probably where we will focus a significant part of our attention.
Sure. And Mike, personally, you're still going to continue as CEO of Raccoon. Doug mentioned at the beginning of this that you're also going to play a part, I guess, on the senior management team of Cuil Bay Capital. Talk to me about that role and how it excites you from an operational perspective, I think Doug said.
I think, look, primarily my day-to-day role will be as CEO of Raccoon, and that's where it works. We're just figuring out Cuil Bay and how all of that works. I mean, it's Doug's vehicle there as one of 3 advisors to support Doug and add input. It's a great opportunity for me because the people that I'm sort of working with now really elevate my thinking and teach me new things that I just simply don't know. So for me, it's exciting. It's a good addition to my skill set, which I hope will benefit.
And just sticking with you, Mike, for a minute, you also referenced in the announcement, your thanks to the team, the existing shareholders, previous chairman Ralph Collette. What message would you like to say to them? Because you don't get to this point without a team around you, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I think the first people to thank are the team, particularly the guys who've worked across the deal, so Joe, Mark and Amy. The deal wouldn't have got done without them. And then the wider team who keep the business running on a day-to-day basis. I am incredibly lucky to work with a group of people who are my mates, but who are also brilliant and have been making me look credible despite my lack of talent for quite some time. So they're incredible people, very lucky to work with them and very privileged to do so. In terms of the exiting shareholders and our previous chairman, Ralph, just the biggest of thank you. You guys came in when it was early, you all took risks, we all went through COVID together, and I hope you're all very proud of what you've helped build, because I believe that we built something really special. And I think what we achieve over the next few years is really built off the back of the hard work that they put in at the start. And I'm excited about what comes next, but I'm grateful about what came before.
Sure. Doug, finally, it's said that you shouldn't get into business with friends and family. It doesn't always work out. But I've had you and Mike on together on the show and independently, and you're doing challenges together, you're working with each other, you're now Mike's boss. Why do you think it seems to work quite well?
He's totally uncontrollable. Well, it's like doing a deal. This is, we've had, 2 or 3 years working together, getting to know each other. It's like the honeymoon period, and now we're getting into the serious business. So we understand, how each other work, but also on the personal side, having, done a number of very long challenges, and in those challenges, not everything is going well and positive, and actually you see, actually how you get through the tough times together and actually help each other. And it's for me quite clear it was never going to be a problem working together. It's I think just a sort of natural progression, really. And for me, it's I'm moving to a different chapter where I'm not running it. It's not my movie. Mike's the star in his movie here, and my job is to help, in terms of the strategy and executing of that, but also making sure he's got the resources to execute that. So I'm doing something totally different, and he's driving it, not me.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'd echo that. I think actually we ran 96 miles together through the night and the pouring rain, and you learn a lot about each other at that point, how you perform under pressure, and stuff goes wrong. And actually, even through this deal process, not all of it's been smooth sailing, but having a basis of respect and friendship, actually, I feel is an asset and can help you sort of get through it. So it's been really good. It's been fun. I'm sure there will be ups and downs as we go along the way, but as long as you sort of respect each other, which we do, I think it's totally fine. I mean, I'm pretty lucky. This guy built a business and sold it for $1 million. $1 billion.
Yeah.
Billion.
And Austin Powers. So he sold it for $1 billion. And he's now the guy who's helping me grow my business. And I'd be an idiot not to listen to him. And I'd be an idiot not to take the chance. So it's a massive opportunity for me.
Mike and Doug, congratulations. Great to see you again. I'm sure it won't be the last time I have you on. Maybe we should do a weekly episode of the Doug and Mike show and see how you get on. But thank you, and we wish you the best of luck.
Good.
Legend. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having us on, mate.